Yo, what's poppin'? So, two games from APAC today. Two absolute bangers that, well, the first one's a bit more of a banger, but the second one was also quite good. So, first up, we have the Philly Fusion. 3-3 in the regular season with a +2 map differential against the LA Valiant. 1-5 with a -5 map differential. This ends up being a 3-2 for Valiant, but you would not have known it based off of the first two maps because Philly wins the first two. So it is a reverse sweep for Valiant. It's quite impressive. So Oasis is a 2-1 for Philly. They're playing Carpe, Zest, Belos, Ria, Aimgod, and Fixa. While Valiant are playing Innovation, Eshan, Marvel, Langsa, and Bali. So no Dia, which is notable. And we see Marvel and Molly making their debut for the team. City Center is just a straight up 100-0 because Philly are playing with Sojourn, Tracer, Balls, and Bap. Valiant are playing with Tracer, Azure, Dooms, and Ana. And Marvel is basically unable to challenge the Philly backline, like at all. Whereas Belos Ria is able to find huge damage on the backline. And this is kind of a consistent thing we've seen on this map. Is I think we've seen the Doomfist kind of struggle. I don't know what it is about this map. It could be there's too many angles, too many long angles to see the Doomfist. The ball is able to maybe find the backline easier to move through the curves of the map. I don't know, but yeah. So ends up being a 100-0. Garden ends up being a 100-44 for Valiant. Philly playing Sojourn, Tracer, Balls, and Bap. Nothing changed. Valiant also playing nothing changed. This time, Valiant take the early fight win, and the Marvel Doom looks much better because he's going in faster before Belos Ria has any chance. And it's basically only two fights, but Valiant get like 85% off of like two fights. And then Valiant sort of gives them the point they don't really use their ults, and Philly do use some ults, and Valiant just come right back, flip the point back, and end up winning. But yeah, pretty much going in before Belos Ria could. And it just was a much better map type, I think. So, yeah. University is 171 for Philly. Philly playing their same composition. Valiant playing the same composition. No changes, right? Marvel Doom looked good again. And instead of going just faster than the ball, oftentimes he would punch Belos Ria's dive and then go himself. And both Sojourns, because there was a Sojourn in the end for Valiant. Soj. But both of them were very, very quiet and didn't really get a lot done. And in the end, Zest on the Tracer was a big difference, and Zenyatta's were both quite good. I think the BAP for Philly was a pretty key point instead of the Ana, because I understand the Ana into the ball, but I think the BAP a little bit more damage output, just a little bit more sustainability, and it probably works out in their favor. But pretty close map. So Midtown is a 3-1 for Philly. This map was a complete wash for the Valiant. Dia comes in for Innovation, and Sasson comes in for Marvel. I thought M3 doesn't come in this map. So on Philly's offense, they're playing Ashe, Mei, Ryan, Bap, Lucio. So they're just rushing it with an Ashe. Valiant are playing Ashe, Sojourn, Zarya, Bap, Zen. And Valiant just hold up in the train station and they win the first fight, but then after that, Philly just walk right to the point and they just cap. And Valiant just do not know, and then they die. And then on the second point, Valiant pull up onto the high ground, and Philly just walk under them and cap the point again. Legit just did not contest the point for like two maps. For two stages, for two sub points. I don't know. It was unreal. And on third, Philly once again, they just walk up, just hits a blizzard, Carpe hits a bob, they win the fight, and they just stuff them in the cap with 4 minutes. And it's just a wash. Valiant just did not contest the payload or the point or anything. Nothing was done. Just nothing. And then they were assault on Zarya, and No Hill is lost it. He's lost it. He's told his team to not touch the point. Something's going on. They played Ashe Sojourn. What is that? Why are you playing both of those guys at once? It's not really needed on this map. Anyway, Valiant offense. Philly play the same comp. Valiant play Tracer, Sojourn, Sigma, Bapzen. So it is a more standard composition. Uh, it was very weird because Valiant forgot that the alleyway was like an option because they would just walk. Like he would walk into the Assassin would walk up into the train and he'd just get walked on and die. And then he'd kind of like walk into the Rhine main and then he'd just die. And then he switches over to something, I think. I don't know. It was weird. I think he switches Winston at some point and he like makes it to the point house and he just dies. Uh Eventually Valiant do walk through the alleyway and they window and they get to space and Sasson still dies. But when they wait for Sasson to return, he comes back and then Belosaria dies, which is not seen before. And Valiant do enter B with 230, but it's not there. The rush holds them out enough time. Uh, it's just not there. But I think Philly maybe needed to use their ults a bit more aggressively to full hold that. But in the end, I don't think they really cared. I think they just knew they probably just won. Uh, and it's so weird seeing that Valiant just had no way to tackle this point at all. Like, no way your plan was to walk through the train with Sigma was your initial plan. That's just not going to work, even against not Rush. Just a bad idea. So Gibraltar is a 6-4 for Valiant. MN3 comes in for Carpe, and Marvel comes in for Sasson. So now we see Philly's offense. They play Sojourn, Genji, Winston on a Brig. Valiant played Ashe, Widow, Sigma, Brig, Zen. And it was quite bad. So Philly basically get the car through the car wash without anything really happening. There's like poke and stuff, right? So they build like a nano. But Valiant kind of get like corralled into the server room because they're on Sigma and it's very easy for the Genji and the Winston to just push them back, especially when they're on double hit scan. And then they just get nano jumped on and they just die and they fall over. And then so Philly enter B with like 440. Eson swaps over the Tracer at this point. Marvel swaps over the Doomfist. And Belisria is going pretty deep. He jumps on the Dia and he gets the kill, but he's forced to Primal. You know, standard things. They're just pushing forward. And it was super brawly at the end, and Philly were like kind of struggling for a bit. It looked like Valiant might come out on top, but MN3 gets like 2 and dies, and that's it. They head into C with 330. Nano Zest without the blade went hard. They got like 2, but Valiant were able to stabilize as Dia swapped over to Cassidy. And then we'll get something a bit unorthodox. We get Belisria on the Roadhog, but I don't think he was ultimately the reason they end up capping. I feel like it was more Zest and Belos and MN3, but he was on the Roadhog. He did get things. He did get kills. He got a few kills. Maybe I'm giving him not enough credit. He got kills. So yeah, but basically the cap, and Valiant never really recovered until they got to C. So not great. Okay, so Valiant's offense. Philly's playing Sojourn, Genji, Winston on a Brig, and Valiant are playing Hanzo, Tracer, Sigma, Brig, Zen. And Philly are just kind of going. He gets Dove on, he switches over to Ashe. Dia gets Dove on, he switches Ashe. And the Valiant are trying to take the high ground after they push the card because they have Eshan on the Tracer just pushing their card under. And there's just nothing to stop Winston from just zapping. Eshan does find a kill on Zest, and Belisria dies. But Valiant make it through, but it was rough. It was not great. Like they had to get some picks that they maybe shouldn't have gotten to make it through. And Marvel was basically cosmetic. Like the Sigma, it's good once you get there, but it's so hard to really get any leverage going on the versus the Winston on the high ground. Anyway, Marvel swaps over to D.Va, and Dia swaps over to Widow. And this is where it kind of gets real because Dia, it's a perk up. He goes kind of crazy. He gets some big picks, and it's good. And it kind of that's a start. That's the beginning. Is Dia gets some picks. He does Dia things, and Valiant get through to C with 130. And MN3 is forced over to Widow because Dia's doing so much. Zest swaps over to Tracer, and Belisria pulls out with Ball. And Valiant are just going crazy. Dia kills both DPS. and they cap in overtime. Or yeah, they cap in overtime at 0. And just this shift of Dia just saying I'm on Widow, it was great. And Marvel going Diva was also great. Because then once Dia got going and the Diva came out, Molly also started playing very well. Molly, well, he was already playing well, but this is where it like really came into the next gear because he was hitting volleys like Dia. He was going crazy, and Marvel being on the Diva makes it harder to jump the backline, and also you can't. It takes away a jump target, so it was very huge. And now Valiant's 1 minute offense, they go all the way. They full send it. It is full send. Um, well, they're stopped just before the end of C, but it is a full send basically. Uh it's unreal. It's just Dia going crazy. Uh Dia's going crazy. Molly's going crazy. The change to the Diva is paying dividends, and it's just a steamroll until Philly finds enough kills finally to stop them at the end of C. But it was just the Dia show and the Molly show. Great stuff to watch. And then Philly comes out with their 1 minute 46 seconds, and they get a great push in their own right. But Belser kind of trolls because they're on second, and he goes far deep into third, and he's on Dia, but then Valiant just come back and they just kill him because they're Marvels and the Diva can easily go back and peel, and so was the rest, and the rest of Valiant did too, and I don't know. Um, it was good. They probably could have pushed further, but I don't know what Belser was really doing back there. It was a little odd, to be honest. But yeah, so Valiant end up winning 6-4 on Gibraltar. New Queen Street is also an absolute banger in a way that Valiant just roll. They full capped this with 4 minutes. Philly had 3 final blows. It wasn't close. It was not close. 3 final blows is air. And they do it doing something a bit weird. So Carpe comes for MN3, Innovation comes for Dia, and Saucing comes for Marvel, right? And Philly are running Sojourn, Tracer, Balls, and BAP. Standard. That's an expected composition. But Valiant runs Sombra, Sojourn, Zarya, Lucio, and Zenyatta. What's going on? The Zarya has like very little healing in this comp. And between the Sojourn and the Zen Lucio kind of thing, and like between the whole composition, Belshray is doing nothing on ball. He goes to Sigma at one point. It doesn't work either. It's just I don't know. And I would think just go rush. Philly just go rush and they win. But I don't know if maybe the Zen is so far away you can't run onto it. If the Sojourn does too much, I don't know why you don't just run a rush and walk onto them. But they didn't do it, and it never happened. And Belshray did nothing. It was the weirdest thing. It's a 4 minute map win, or 6 minutes. It took 6 minutes for them to do it because now it's 10. But God, 3 final blows is all Philly can muster. That was crazy. And then Lee Jiang, 2-0 for Valiant. Marvel comes back in, and he plays unreal. Marvel has a phenomenal map. Just spectacular. So, Control Center, 100 to 99 for Valiant. Philly playing Sojourn, May, Ryan, Bap, Lucia. They're on the rush. Valiant are playing Tracer, Sojourn, Doom, Brig, Ana. And Philly are starting to break down at this point because Zest he plays like two fights and they go like even, but he switches off of the May. He's kind of out of position. He's kind of not where he needs to be all the time, and he swaps off the May to Tracer. And whenever you see a rush break down their May to Tracer, something's up. Like they're fighting demons, right? Um, I don't know. Marvel plays a fantastic map here, but he gets even better the next one. And he's like isolating Carpe. He's diving the backline. He's winning fight. He's doing everything. He has Meteor Strike when he needs to. Eshan has a great map. He kills two. Uh, it was great. It was a really close map, really close, really scrappy at times. But the very end, and I wasn't sure how Valiant were going to touch because Carpe had a high noon, and because he swapped cast at one point, he gets a high noon. It's overtime. It looks like no one can touch. Eshan manages to get some blinks on and off, and he barely touches. It was or no, it's innovation. It's not innovation. It's Is it innovation? I said oh, I guess I did. Huh, I guess it's innovation. Sure. So on the tracer, he's barely touching, and he manages to maintain the overtime wick. And the Valiant, they find a way. It looked like it was. I very much thought that this map, this specific round, was gonna go the way of Philly. But that's not how to great map. Night Market is 100 to 99 for Valiant as well. And Philly are playing the Ash Tracer Balls and Bap. Valiant playing the Tracer Sojourn Doom Brig Zen. Same thing as before. It's immaculate. It is an immaculate match, immaculate map round. Um, Zest, he's playing well. Zest still probably playing like rookie of the year standard. Like Zest is playing good, but something was away. He was missing 6 on Marvel one time. He was getting kills. I don't know. I didn't feel, and I was kind of worried that maybe this is a meta. He's going to be off of the Genji. He might not get as much done. His tracer looked good, but was it great? I think it is maybe a step down, but not by a lot. But it just a little bit of something. He wasn't turning fights the same way he was. Anyway, Valley do get the first cap, but they lose the fight eventually. It's Valiant are holding their alts, and they have like 4 alts, and there's a time where they get nothing with them, and then their supports die. But then Marvel gets 3, and he holds the point and lives in like a 1v2. He's very low. He dies back. His supports are coming back from spawn. He goes to them. He goes back to the point before the flip, and he lives. And then Philly eventually get the flip, but Valiant come back and they do win. And they get both supports, and then they roll into the backline with Transcendence, and then Carpe gets Bob onto the point just before he dies, enough to make sure that Philly do get the flip. But now it is very close. It's like 90-99. And Langs is the only one with an ultimate. No one else has an ultimate. And he rallies in, and Valiant just get through, and they win. And it was very close. But Marvel on the Doomfist, the things he was doing, he was just killing people, and he was punching Belisria. Belisria couldn't do anything. Well, he's not that he couldn't do anything, but he was definitely not doing as much as he would have. And Marvel, just the tank difference, all in all, it was there. It was just there. So overall, the first half was all Philly. Valiant looked out of touch with the patch. They had some weird comps that didn't make a lot of sense. Very slow start. Marvel was a little bit shaky at the very beginning. And Sasson could not touch a point. He was allergic to touching point. And Tom was looking kind of mid. But they came together, and they managed to do it. Philly at the beginning, they knew they had it all going on. They looked good on the ball. They looked great on the Rhine. Zest was doing things, and it looked like a wrap. Even on Gibraltar, until the very end, until Diaz switches to Widowmaker, it was a wrap. And then he flips the switch, and it changes. And then Molly pulls up on the Zen, and the rest it just happens. Valiant playing around their best players, and the rest just kind of fell into place. Dia and Molly going crazy, Marvel going crazy. Even Sasson got a map win there. He had to. It was good. That new Queen Street is not. You can't erase that. That happened. They did full cap in 6 minutes. The crack comp went crazy. Fusion didn't know how to play Rush. They just didn't know. The final map was really close, 100 to 99 points. But Marvel really did play above and beyond. Or maybe it's just a Doomfist, but Marvel played very well on the Doomfist. I think the Doomfist is a pretty good look in this meta, and I don't think teams would hurt from playing the ball instead of the Doomfist as their primary dive tank. I think we've seen a lot of the time it has a even or better matchup into the ball where you can just punch it, you can stop him from just doing anything. It is huge. So the Thompson player of the match is going to go to Molly. I was thinking either Dia or Marvel, but Molly was in the whole time for all the final 3 maps and before that even, and making a huge impact after being benched on the worst team in APAC. He was just able to turn on Zen. And the picks he was getting, and I don't think I saw him have a bad trank even before, even the first half. He played great. It was a really good showing from Molly, and not much more to say. He was just playing very well overall. Okay, so Chengdu Seoul. Chengdu's 2-4 with a -4. Seoul Dynasty 4-2 with a +6. Ends up being a 3-2 for Seoul. In a closer match than you'd expect. So Ilios was 2-0 for Seoul. Chengdu playing Jinmu, Leave, Gaga, Monk, Nisha. That's Chengdu. That's what they are. Seoul are Prophet, Stalker, Smurf, and Creative Dame. So Stalker actually gets playtime here. So Runes is 163 for Seoul. Chengdu playing Sombra, Tracer, Balls, and Brig. Seoul playing Tracer, Sojourn, Dooms, and Brig. And Gaga's just doing this thing on ball. He's like unkillable pretty much. But Jinmu and Sombra is not the one. It's not the truth. Because Stalker and Sojourn is doing way more. And it's probably the right call for Jinmu to be on the Sombra. Because that's just his hero pool. But it definitely is the problem overall. Because the things Stalker was doing compared to the things Jinmu were doing, Stalker was doing more. And it's being a deciding factor in that round. And Lighthouse, 193 for Seoul. Chengdu playing the Echo Tracer, Balls, and Ana. Seoul playing Echo Tracer, Doom, Ana, Zen. And Stalker actually impressed me because he was at the very least keeping the same pace as Leaf on the Tracer. But Prophet Echo was much better than Jinmu Echo by a lot. Jinmu Echo wasn't horrible. It wasn't like trash, but it's Prophet Echo. And Seoul gets to 90, and they let Chengdu get the point, and then they get picked a few times, and then they just pull up and they win, right? So like, yeah, Chengdu got 90, but it was like a fraudulent 90 because they only really won a fight. And the rest was just like, oh, there's a pick here, we got to reset. Oh, there's a pick here, we have to reset. So it's not like uncompetitive, but it's very much in Seoul's control right now. And King's Row is a 6-5 for Chengdu, an absolute 6-5 map banger. Fitz comes in for Stalker, or point banger, I suppose. Seoul's offense, they're playing, Chengdu on the defense are playing Genji, Sojourn, Ball, Zen, and Ana, while Seoul are playing Echo, Sojourn, Sigma, Bat, Brig. I did not do my overview for that stuff. Hold on. Okay, so this map, this first offense, was mostly a roll for Seoul until C. After C, Chengdu kind of got a bit of a foothold. They played pretty aggro up at that corner with the ball. And eventually, Seoul do get past it, and they kind of fight and miss it. There's some fighting, there's some scrappy fights at the end, and they end up capping with 38 seconds. So it goes from like a pretty good roll into a like a cap with time, which is good on King's Row. You can't be upset about that. And at Chengdu's offense, they're playing Genji, Sojourn, Winston's, and Ana. Seoul's playing a Tracer, Sojourn, Sigma, Babzan again. And it's kind of similar. It's similar in the way that they roll through A. Then B, they kind of roll through B. And Jinmu is getting a lot of kills. Jinmu's doing quite well. He's getting at least 2 a fight that they win. And they end up capping with an OT. But it's very similar because, yeah, it's just like a roll through A, roll through B. Every time there's a Nano Blade, Jinmu's going crazy with it. Smurf swaps over the Doom, and it kind of holds them for a bit on C. But, and like you have Prophet and all that, and they do win fights. But eventually, Nano Blade is inevitable. And Chengdu do finish the map on whenever they have Gaga on mines. Gaga mines go crazy, right? And things like that. And then you have Chengdu's offense with a minute. They are just going. They're just going. It's open season. It is open season. Chengdu just roll through A, basically. And they get stagger kills, and now they're going through B, and then they get to C, and then Chengdu are just rolling with ults, and they don't use them all, and then Leave gets a collateral with his overclock, and it's crazy. It's craziness. And they finish the map. Like, they do finish the map. They just roll. Seoul's offense, 138, so they do have an extra 38 seconds, but it's not enough. It's kind of the same. They do roll, but Chengdu holds them up, says, whoa, calm down. Doesn't happen. They both swap Zarya at the end. Leave and Jinmu use their ults, they win, right? So it's a crazy map. Genji was getting like 3 with Nano Blade. Leaf Sojourn was going nasty, getting the first collab of Overwatch League history. Um, and Chengdu eventually moving off of the ball and onto the Winston was a very good look because Seoul are not playing the Zen. When there's no Zen in play, there's no reason not to play the Winston for the most part, especially because like you can dive Sigma, you can dive the backline. There's a lot of options there. No reason not to play it. I just don't love playing the Sigma into what Chengdu are running without the Zen. I don't know. I just don't like it. And it's amplified by Smurf being the tank here because you're Smurf. You're not really known for your Sigma gameplay. And it did take them. It took Soul a bit, but they did go to double flex support at times. Like they do play a Zen here, but they don't really play. They don't play it all the time. Gibraltar's at 3-2 for Soul. Stalker comes in for Fitz. Chengdu playing Jinmu Leave. We already know who they're playing. Let me say that. Soul's offense. Chengdu's playing Echo, Sojourn, Winston, and Ana. Soul are playing Tracer, Sojourn, Winston, Ana, Brig. So both have teams on the Winston. And it was interesting to me to see Chengdu lean to that Winston on the defense. But you think maybe you would whip out the ball here. But I don't know. It was a little odd. Chengdu playing very aggressively at times, kind of dying at times. I don't know. There's a lot of times where Monk was getting nanoed, and I don't know. Okay, so I just had a 45-minute call with a group member on a group project. So I don't exactly remember where I left off, but what I do remember is Chengdu's offense. Quite good. Oh, I'm on the second part. Oh, okay. So Chengdu's second offense. It's good, but it's not good enough. So they roll A, they enter B, you know. Stalker on the Widow, not as great. He swaps over to Ash, much greater. Jimmy Blade, it's a little inconsistent at times. It's not as good as it was like last map, but it's still good, right? Eventually Chengdu do stabilize. Or no, Soul stabilize. Because he hits a big bob. His Stalker hits a big bob and some headshots. And Smurf's playing very well, I think. I think Smurf's having a solid map, probably his best map. And Chengdu fight to the end of C, but they don't quite get it. Because the Ashe is playing is doing well compared to the Sojourn, actually. I find that Sojourn maybe doesn't have quite the angles that she needed to find as much value as an Ashe, because the Ashe you get the raw aim, you get the raw damage. Sojourn is really good because you can find like the flank angles around, but Ashe just gives you the raw damage that you need and actually like out duels pretty much. I don't know, and Bob's also a very strong ultimate. So Coliseum, it's very close. So close. It's an 84.81 to 84.80 meter difference for Chengdu. So they make the comeback basically. Chengdu playing Tracer, Sojourn, Balzen, Brig, and Soul playing Hanzo, Sojourn, Sigma, Bap, Brig. And Jimu like takes that profit right away. And he actually gets like 3 kills on Tracer. And Chengdu give her some push. But then Soul come back and I get some pretty bad mines, and they just keep pushing and pushing, and there's a flux miss, and Soul eventually take the lead, right? They hit the checkpoint, and they pretty much have them where they want them. They eventually Gaga switch over to the Winston, and he just swaps to the Ana. And yeah, Gaga on the Winston is really good because Soul not running Zenyatta. So he's able to go deep. He's able to go big. Jinmu is on Genji at points. He's on Sombra at points. He ends up being on Sombra at the end. And he kills 2. At the very end, he kills 2. And they are pushing. They're pushing from overtime. They get to the checkpoint, right? Maybe I should say before this, Jinmu bladed Oxygen, as in Gaga hit a primal and killed 3, and then Jinmu decided to pop blade after the fight, and then he swapped Sombra. So yeah. Jinmu switches over to Sombra, he gets like 2, and then Monk gets Vendame, and then he gets Smurf, and then Jinmu goes crazy, and Gaga's prime lane into the spawn, and they come back, and it's a serious comeback on Coliseum. And I still don't love the Sigma. It's the same thing as King Zero. It was pretty much the same thing as King Zero. I don't like the Sigma when you're lacking the Zen. I feel like they kind of need to go hand in hand. And Jinmu was impressive on this map. On the Tracer, on the Sombra, on the Genji. It was great. And it's a good pick to analyze that they're not running Zen. I'm going to go Winston. He did it again. Maybe a little later than he should have, but it's whatever. Oasis is a 2 for Soul, and this is a tragic tale. Fitz comes in for Stalker, right? City Centers, 100 to 99 for Soul. Chengdu playing Sombra, Tracer, Balls, and Berg. Soul playing Tracer, Sombra, Doom on a Berg. And I actually rate the Ball more than the Doom on this point, I think. Just based on what we've seen in NA in the last match that we even saw, where the Doom was struggling. But it is not. It is very close. It was very back and forth both ways. Fitz gets the better of Jinmu on the Sombra because he oftentimes would go back and find the translocator, and then whenever Jinmu would leave stealth, or just like as soon as possible, he would just kill it and Jinmu dies, and I basically sold the first cap. And I would say that Fitz EMPs, he holds them a lot longer and he waits for good opportunities, which is kind of good because EMP is more of a... It's not as strong as it was in Overwatch 1, so you don't need to constantly try and pump things out with it. Hope that didn't mess anything up. It might have, because I moved it. But, yeah. Smurf on the ball, or Smurf on the Doom, is doing quite a bit. Maybe Chengdu's not going to the high ground as much as they should. I'm not entirely sure what's like the problem is here, but I don't know. Monk got dove on a lot, and Fitz played better at Sombra. So even though it's like pretty much mirrors, I think that the Ana Brig was better than the Zen Brig, I believe, at Living, and then the Doom was. I think the Doom. It's hard to say, but it probably got more value than the Ball. Just because I don't think Chengdu stationed themselves as well as they could have into the Doom. Moving on to Gardens, it's 100 to 99 for Soul. Same compositions. And Fitz and Smurf is basically getting punched around, and it's very difficult for Gaga to go in on the ball at all. But it's similar as if Smurf gets hacked, then he will also just die because he's on Doomfist and he can't power block. And Monk is going crazy. This is a Monk show. He is constantly the focus of Soul's dive, right? And the focus of Chengdu's game plan. Because he is outputting so much damage, he's doing so much. And he really is like playing very well. And Chengdu gets to 99. They did it in the last map too, I forgot to mention. They did get it to 99. It's a full 0 to 100 from Soul. And it looks good. Soul ended up flipping a point and they have 3 ults. And Chengdu used some ults, and they reset, and they're forced to reset, and then Fitz gets a big MP, and it's reset, and then it's looking good for Chengdu. They get some kills, and no one touches the point. So we'll never know what happened, because they never touched the point and triggered overtime. So we'll never know. Anyway, overview. Close banger of a match. Chengdu put up more of a fight than a lot of people expected. I did have them winning, but Soul were stronger. It was similar to the previous match, but Chengdu were unable to show the same like dominance and the same I can't think of the word viscosity. I want to say viscosity, but that's not it. As the Valiant, because you saw Valiant like turned it on and they really propelled themselves. Chengdu didn't have that same thing. It was more of a flip flop, and it was mostly where Soul were on the Sigma. Right? You'll notice that Coliseum, Soul on Sigma, King Zero, Soul on Sigma. So maybe a weakness there, and the question there is it a weakness in that Smurf is bad at Sigma, or they're not good at the Sigma comps, or is it that they're not playing Zenyatta, which is making it worse? And I think that could be a big weakness for this team moving forward. I do wonder if maybe it was a strat that countered Gaga's ball. Maybe that was their job. Maybe that was their dream. Or if it was genuinely what they want to run moving forward. Who knows? But I don't. So we'll see if because Smurf Sigma is like good, but it's not like great. I we'll see if it's gonna be the same as the Zarya, where it was like kind of mid at the start and then it got quite good at the end. Um, but who knows? We'll see. We will see. Uh, Chengdu as a team looked better. Jinmu played a very good game. Monk on Zen is a much bigger upgrade than Monk on Ana, and Leave on Sojourn is also a bigger upgrade than the Soldier, I would say. Although Leave Sojourn was not as explosive as like a Kai or like a Sparker even, but it's probably better than the Soldier. And yeah, Jinmu had a great game. And of course, Gaga on ball, much better than Gaga on Winston, although he did switch over to the Winston, but that's just how it happens. So the Thomas player of the match has to go to Prophet because I was very tempted to give it to Monk for how good he played the Zenyatta, but I don't think it was quite right. He wasn't that good compared to Prophet, and Prophet was just the best damage player in the league, in the league, sure, but also in the match. Just diffing his counterpart every time, right? Whether it be the Echo, whether it be the Tracer, it was there, and the consistency to play his game at such a high level is not something that can be really understated. Uh, he was always there for Soul, and even whenever his DPS partner is getting subbed out, even when Smurf looks kind of whatever on the Sigma, there's always Prophet. But yeah, so that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe down below, and have yourself a good one.